You ever have lunch, laugh at a joke, argue a tiny bit with someone, then poof, you're gone. No calls, no trace, just gone. That's not a Netflix script, that's Dublin in the summer of 1993. We're talking about Eva Brennan, 39 years old, living in Rathgar. She's not some tourist passing through. She's local, familiar streets, family just a walk away, normal as it gets. She leaves her parents' house in Terenure after a Sunday lunch. That's like what, a 10-minute walk back home? Easy, but she never makes it. Imagine vanishing in a city, not on a mountain trail, not in the bogs, a city. And here's where it gets awkward. This all starts after a small family argument. Nothing dramatic, nothing that would make the evening news, but it was enough that she left earlier than usual. And that, my friends, is the last anyone in her family ever saw of her. So here's how it went down. It's Sunday, 25th of July 1993, classic Irish family lunch. Roast beef, potatoes, probably someone arguing over the gravy, normal vibes. Eva, age 39, is there with her parents in Terenure. She shows up, sits down, eats, chats. Nothing unusual until there's this small argument. Not a fist-slamming, storm-out kind of argument. Just a little family tension. The kind of thing you laugh about later. Except nobody got to laugh later. Eva leaves after lunch. She says goodbye, she walks out. She's headed to her own apartment in Rathgar Madison House. That's like a 10-minute walk. A straight line. Easy. You could practically do it blindfolded. But she doesn't come back that evening. She doesn't ring anyone. No, hey, sorry about earlier call. She just disappears. 2 days later, her dad is thinking, okay, this is weird. He goes over to her apartment, rings the bell. No answer. He tries again. Still nothing. And that's when he gets that sinking feeling something's off. So he breaks in using a window that connects to the Horse and Hound pub, which, fun fact, was the family business. He climbs in, probably expecting to find his daughter sitting there annoyed or maybe sulking. But nope. What he finds is way stranger. Inside the flat, he sees Eva's jacket, the one she was wearing when she left the house that Sunday. Just sitting there, meaning at some point she made it back to her apartment. That should have been good news, right? Except she's not there, and she never shows up again. That's when the family knows. This isn't just Eva's gone off for a few days. This is something darker. Now let's talk about what we do know. Eva wasn't some mysterious drifter. She had a routine. She was close to her family. She came for Sunday lunch like clockwork. Predictable, reliable, the kind of person you'd bet 20 quid would be in the same chair every week. That Sunday, she left her parents' place wearing a pink tracksuit, leggings, and carrying a bright red handbag. She also had on a man's brown strap wristwatch. Slim build, about 5'7", short mid-brown hair, blue eyes. People remembered this. Clothes, accessories, her look. Like she walked right out of a catalog. But here's where it gets weird. Eva had been struggling with depression around that time. That's not speculation, her family openly said it. But they were also crystal clear. She wasn't the type to just check out without leaving some kind of note. No scribble, no letter, no explanation. Nothing. Just silence. Her apartment added to the mystery. Remember, her jacket, the one she wore to lunch, was inside, which means at some point she made it home. She physically walked through that door. But then, gone, like she evaporated between her own walls. That's the kind of clue that makes you go, okay, was she taken from the apartment? Did she leave again without the jacket? Did someone meet her there? Every option sounds sketchy. And yet for the guards, no rush, no urgency, which brings us to the first major twist. So here's the kicker. Eva's family are freaking out. They know something's wrong. Jacket in the flat, no Eva days going by. You'd think the guards would swoop in, dust for prints, canvass the neighborhood, full detective mode. Nope. The investigation doesn't properly start for about 3 months. 3 whole months. That's basically enough time to start and drop a diet, binge watch an entire TV box set, and grow a questionable mustache. Meanwhile, the only person that matters, Eva, is just missing. And here's why that matters. Those first hours, those first days, that's when you grab witnesses. People's memories fade fast. By 3 months in, you can barely remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday, let alone whether you saw a woman in a pink tracksuit walk past your gate in July. So, yeah, this wasn't just a delay. It was like leaving milk out on the counter for days. By the time anyone looked, the whole thing had spoiled. The family? Furious. They felt like the guards didn't take it seriously enough from the start. They pushed. They begged. But official momentum was crawling. And that's the twist. The missing person wasn't treated as urgent. No red flags, no all points bulletins, just quiet waiting. And by the time the search actually picked up, Dublin had already swallowed whatever trace Eva left behind. Okay, so let's circle back to that jacket. Eva leaves her parents' house in Terenure. Hours later, her jacket ends up inside her Rathgar flat. That one fact alone changes everything. Because it proves she actually made it home. She wasn't snatched off the street right after leaving her parents. She walked those 10 minutes, crossed through Dublin like normal, got to Madison House and went inside. Done. So then, question time. What happened after she crossed that threshold? Did she take off her jacket, sit down, and then decide to head out again? Did someone knock on her door and she trusted them enough to open it? Or, and this one chills me, did something happen to her inside that apartment? Here's what makes it worse. Nothing else looked dramatic. No struggle reported. No obvious signs of chaos. Just a jacket in place and Eva gone. And because the guards didn't take it seriously for months, we don't know what little clues were missed. Fingerprints, smudges, a weird mark on the floor. By the time anyone asked, all of it was long gone. This is why the jacket isn't just a piece of clothing. It's like the one breadcrumb in a trail that suddenly ends. It's the proof she made it back then, the city just swallowed her whole. So here's where it gets even creepier. Eva's disappearance wasn't just a random one-off. Nope. Her case got lumped into what people now call Ireland's Vanishing Triangle. What's that? Picture a rough triangle drawn across the east of Ireland, Dublin down to Wexford, across to Offaly, back up again. Between the late 1980s and the mid-90s, at least 8 young women went missing in this zone. Most never found. No bodies, no answers. Just a trail of ghost stories nobody wanted. Eva was one of them. And here's the mind bender. These weren't hikers lost in the wilderness or people vanishing in foreign countries. These were women disappearing in Irish towns and cities. Broad daylight, suburbs, busy streets. Some families think it was a serial predator. Some say multiple predators feeding off the same lack of urgency. Others think guards messed up so bad that everything got lost in the cracks. Either way, the whole area earned a reputation as the Bermuda Triangle of Ireland. So not only does Eva's story haunt her family, it's also tied to one of the country's biggest unsolved mysteries. Here's the maddening part. After all these years, we're still left with nothing. No confirmed body, no crime scene, no note, no dramatic farewell message on a kitchen table, just a woman who walked home and then ceased to exist in the paperwork. The guards, they never named a suspect publicly. Not one, no person of interest. No, we're keeping an eye on so and so. Just blank pages and press appeals. Even the so-called leads are more like whispers. A jacket on a chair, a handbag description. A family who knew her routines inside out saying, this isn't like her. That's it. And it's been over 30 years. Think about that. Entire TV shows have come and gone in that time. Phones went from bricks to smartphones. Dublin itself has changed. But Eva's case stuck, frozen in 1993. Her family never gave up though. They kept pushing. They even publicly criticized the investigation, saying it wasn't taken seriously from the start. And honestly, can you blame them? 3 months of delay is basically an open invitation for evidence to evaporate. So what we don't have is basically everything that matters. Years go by. Eva's case is still sitting cold. But then something shifts. By the late 90s and 2000s, the media start connecting dots. Woman after woman missing in the same general area, all unsolved. The term vanishing triangle starts making headlines. Suddenly, Eva's name is back in the news. Her family never stopped pushing. They went public demanding answers. They criticized how the guards handled things. And when journalists picked up on it, the guards were basically forced to reissue appeals. You know those TV press conferences where detectives sit in front of cameras and say, "If you saw anything, please come forward." Yeah, that started happening for Eva. Posters, newspaper clippings, even segments on RTE. And here's the sad part. Even with all that pressure, there was no breakthrough. No mystery witness suddenly stepping out of the shadows. No person of interest officially named. No arrest. Just the same looping question mark. Eva's family are watching the coverage, hoping each new campaign will bring something, anything. But all they get is silence. And that silence is its own kind of cruelty. Here's where we throw on the detective hat and sip some tea. So Eva had depression? Yeah, but come on, walking out of your whole life without a note, without a trace? That's not just unusual, that's borderline impossible. People don't just vanish mid-routine. If she really did go back to her apartment that opens two doors, either she left again without her jacket, which in Ireland weather is suspicious by itself, or something happened in that flat. And if it was the latter, well, whoever did it had plenty of time to cover tracks, because the guards basically pressed snooze on the case for 3 months. And what about witnesses? A pink tracksuit and a red handbag are not exactly low-key camouflage. That's not blending in with the bricks of Rathgar. Somebody should have seen her. Neighbors, passers-by, anyone. But no one comes forward. Either they didn't see or they didn't want to say. Then there's the family angle. That little argument before she left, was it totally meaningless, or was it the emotional push behind her disappearance? Hard to say. But if it was connected, it's a brutal twist. Something so small leading to something so massive. And finally, the vanishing triangle itself. Eva's disappearance wasn't in a vacuum. Other women, similar fates, same era. Was it one predator, a network, or just terrible luck colliding in the worst possible way? Honestly, with this case, every theory sounds both ridiculous and possible at the same time. Here's the part that lingers. We remember what Eva wore: the pink tracksuit, the red handbag, even the jacket found inside her flat. We can list those details 30 years later. But what we don't have is her. It's like Dublin just swallowed her whole. No body, no scene, no closure, and the cruel irony: a completely normal Sunday lunch roast chatter, a little family spat ends up being the last chapter anyone can write about her life. That's the thing about disappearances like this. It's not the screaming headlines or the dramatic chase. It's the silence, the door that never opened again, the phone that never rang. And maybe the most haunting detail of all, someone out there knows exactly what happened. Maybe it's a neighbor who saw something but didn't think it mattered. Maybe it's a person who walked beside her and never came forward. Eva Brennan didn't just vanish, she was erased. And 30 plus years later, we're still left with a jacket, a date July 25th, 1993, and one brutal unanswered question. How does someone disappear in the middle of Dublin and stay gone?